let's talk about what causes poor communication between cross-functional teams. To find the answer, let's map out some of the main causes. And this is my favorite method to dig deeper into some of the root causes behind the symptom itself. And speaking of symptoms, let's consider this one for instance. As companies continue to grow, new complexities start to surface. One such complexity is communication, which is a factor in how effectively a company can collaborate. Cross-functional teams with different leaderships often find it difficult to work smoothly with less friction. So, what causes poor communication between cross-functional teams? And the first factor behind this is the misalignment or differences in goals and objectives between two teams. And one of the reasons behind it is because different departments have different objectives. And if two teams have misaligned goals or objectives, then there is less incentive to collaborate together on key initiatives. For example, let's say if finance is working with operations, both teams will have different objectives that they try to accomplish. Now, even if they are not competing with one another, if one team needs help, the other team may not feel as if it is super important or super urgent to help the other if their objectives are not the same as a unit or as a company. And also, leaders who compete with each other in the same organization are less likely to encourage their teams to collaborate and find common ground. Because if one leader is trying to get credit for one task, they may not want to help another leader to get credit for the same thing he or she is trying to get, which results in a rather unhealthy environment and working culture. So that was the first factor. Now, factor number two is a mentality among many employees and even leaders that if an action or task needs to be completed, then they often try to distance themselves and say the classic phrase, "It's not part of my job." So why is that? And that's because a culture where there is an existing mentality of us versus them actually impedes the spirit of unity and causes more friction between employees, which is a sign of little to no collaboration. And also, people who are not open-minded have always found a way to find new excuses, to push away tasks that they find isn't worth their time. Now let's talk about the final factor and its root causes of what causes poor communication and collaboration between cross-functional teams. And it's somewhat because of commitments and time constraints. So basically, people being overburdened with their own responsibilities that they don't have any space left on their calendar to help others. So let's talk about why that is. And that is because shorter term projects are sometimes seen as seasonal initiatives that take away time, right? Instead of saving time for employees in the long term. Let's say, for example, an IT project. It takes time to test these technologies, right? And leaders may have said that a new software or application will save you time in the long term. And based on your past experiences, you may have seen that some of the older IT projects didn't save any time for you. And so that may create a bad impression when you hear about a new project coming your way. And finally, individuals with too much items on their plate see improvement initiatives as time commitments instead of time investments. See, in order to save time in the long term through tools or process improvements or any projects of that nature, if you don't see your involvement as an investment, then it may seem more like a time commitment. So many employees prefer not to be part of time constraining projects and instead prefer to look at them as time commitments instead of investing their time to learn something new. And this is what the big picture mapping looks like. So feel free to take a screenshot. And here's my parting one question to you. What do you think will fix these 6 root causes? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment below. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, help me by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this with a friend. I will see you in the next problem solving exercise.